Welcome to a fresh episode of Aviator Talks. With us today is Captain Aryan Upasham, Second Officer with AirAsia India. Hi there, Captain. Welcome to the Aviator.in. Can we have a quick introduction of yours, such as your designation, your hometown, and current airline flying with?
Hi guys, my name is Aryan Upasham and I'm from Mumbai. I fly as a second officer on the Airbus A320 for AirAsia India.
Just us about your flying training. How was your first flight experience?
So my flight training experience, hands down the best experience of my life. It was a superb, phenomenal experience. It's something I've waited forever to do and I had a crazy amount of fun doing it. You have to obviously, just like any other course, you have to study. But मज़े भी बहुत आते हैं, बहुत मज़े करे हैं. It's amazing. So, like an insight is like, for example, there's a point in your flying training which is the most fun part for sure. Is when you're doing your cross countries. So you just hop on an aircraft, fill fuel, and just fly all over the state. Leave the state, fly to another state. It's so good. It's definitely the best experience. So basically, I did my flight training immediately after my 12th standard. So obviously, while I was doing my flight training, my friends were in their colleges. Someone was doing engineering, someone is doing BMM, someone's doing BMS. So while my friends in the morning used to be all fussy, wake up and like, "Arey college ka lecture jana hai," I used to wake up and be like, "Let's fly an airplane today." That's basically what happens in flight school. And if you're passionate and if you love it, it's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. So my first flight experience was pretty interesting. It was something which I was looking forward to since a long, long time. The instructor actually on my very first flight was like, "Fly, dude, just see what you can do. Like, just experience what it is like to be behind the controls of an aircraft." Phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's so good. It's so good. Also, as a first flight, you can also consider your first flight as a solo. My first flight as a solo was so much fun. So I was very confident about what I was doing. I was very confident about my solo even before I went for my solo. I was ready for that day. I was prepared. I knew how to fly. I was confident. So I remember when I took off, I had this big wide smile on my face. And I remember making my first crosswind turn, first downwind, everything I remember. And then Tao was like, "How are you holding up?" And I'm like, "I'm doing great, dude." And then he's like, "Okay, whenever you're ready, turn base." What an experience! What an experience! And I remember smiling throughout the flight. I did 3 takeoffs and landings. That's what you have to do in a first solo. And I came back and all my buddies were like, "Dude, you did it!" Like, I'm like, "I did it!" And like, for me, it was such a big milestone because I had been waiting forever for this day. Great experience, great experience. You just need to study at the right time and fly, enjoy passionately.
What exactly is the role of second officer? What phases of flight does a second officer takes control at?
So a second officer is someone who's new to the company. Basically, it's a person who has just joined the company and till the time he gets released as a first, or he or she gets released as a first officer. During that whole time, the designation which you hold is that of a second officer. So it's more or less a training phase. This is when you get yourself familiar with the SOPs, get familiar with line flying. It's the first time where you're actually going to be in a real aircraft, in a real Airbus A320, understanding how it flies, understanding what things actually happen in real life. It's very different from flight school for sure. So yeah, that's more or less what a second officer does. So as a second officer, you go through various stages of training. Like you start off sitting on the third seat, then you do something known as a base check where you go and do 6 takeoffs and landings in an empty aircraft, but you're flying the aircraft. And then you have something known as your SLF, which is supervised line flying, where you're actually flying the aircraft with actual passengers. And there's a check pilot at the back who eventually goes away, and then you're flying with a trainer and everything. And then you get released as a first officer. So when does a second officer actually take literally everything from your base check till your release? You're literally flying the aircraft throughout. So except your first few days, you're always flying the aircraft.
Does flying ever get instinctive? Is it something you adapt in your daily routine like driving a car? How do you prepare yourself every time before flying?
So according to me, flying is definitely instinctive. It is like driving a car. Like when you're driving a manual car, you don't think right before you press the clutch, before you shift the gear. Flying is definitely similar. Like there's a point where you connect with the aircraft where you just know what you're doing. You just subconsciously, react to a certain movement made by the aircraft. This is an example from flying school. So say you're coming into land, okay, your vertical stabilizer is like a big portion of your aircraft protruding out and it's definitely prone to winds. So like when it's gusting, so winds are gonna hit the vertical stabilizer, so it's gonna change the direction of your nose slightly. You just feel it as a pilot when you're behind the controls. So subconsciously, you step on the rudder, straighten up the nose back with the runway. It's definitely instinctive in such a way. So it's kind of funny how I relate my preparations for my flight, like when I used to prepare back in the day for going to school the next day. So like for example, back in school, make sure your uniform is right, you have the right books according to the timetable, according to the subjects you have the next day in school. Flying is similar, make sure your uniform's right, everything's pressed, everything's perfect, it's ready for the next day, your flight bag's full, it has everything you need, all your requirements are fulfilled, just stuff like that. Very important preparation in my opinion is sleep. You definitely should be well rested before a flight because in my personal opinion, fatigue is the worst enemy of a pilot. It's not safe to be fatigued and go fly. You should be at 100% energy wise, physically and mentally. And definitely eat good food, make sure you're healthy, you're well rested. Just the basics, yeah.
Okay, so what difficulties does a new candidate faces to get a job as a pilot if he or she is not from the cadet program?
So I'm not a cadet pilot. I did my CPL the conventional way, and definitely from my personal experience, what I can say is that is the insecurity which gets to you. Like when you're in a flying school, you don't know what's gonna happen once you get out of here. You don't know what the future is like. When you're a cadet pilot, you more or less know that you will get into the airline. So that uncertainty factor is definitely one difficulty which you have to face as a conventional pilot. So one thing that people should do effectively in order to get a job, study hard, be at your A game at any moment. You don't know when any airline is going to come out with a vacancy. You don't know how many people are going to give the exam. You don't know how many people are they going to really induct in the end. The point is you have to try your level best with 100% dedication to make sure that you are better, or at least you feel that you are better than everyone else out there. So there's a lot of competition, and the supply is too high and the demand's too low. So definitely it's all about keeping in touch with your studies, being at your A game at any moment. So secondly, when an airline comes out with a vacancy, you don't have enough time to prepare. Like you can't start from scratch and then be like right there in the end how much ever you study. You have to be in touch with your subjects, you have to keep studying, you have to be at your A game till you get a job. Obviously once you land the job you have to study there also, but in order to land a job you have to be at your A game at all moments.
How are your rosters prepared? Are junior pilots treated equally in terms of choices and preferences? How is the flight duty time limitations taken care of?
So your roster, just like any other line release pilot, there is nothing different. Same app, same format, same everything is the same. Obviously the amount of flying you get depends on a lot of factors. So definitely there's no difference in the rostering, it's more or less the same procedure. So preference is something like preference between juniors and seniors. I mean, for example, like if I want a particular base, so for me, in order to get that base, first of all, I have to be in the top in the seniority list to be chosen first before other people who joined after me. They have to have a vacancy in that base for someone with my designation, because you can only have a number. Like they plan for a number of people in a particular base. So like that, there is no discrimination, but obviously your seniority list matters. So junior, senior, it depends on what term. So it really depends on what aspect are you saying junior or senior. But in the flight deck, everyone's treated with respect. Everyone's given the same amount of love. Everyone talks to each other very respectfully. There is no difference in how you're treated in the flight deck. But preferences and everything, it's same. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter in my opinion. I think it's pretty fair and square. Your FDTL is definitely stuck to, is definitely adhered to. Basically, you cannot cross your FDTL because you're flying with line release pilots, right? So line pilots are obviously following FDTL. It's illegal not to. You're flying with them, so the amount of hours you're flying is with them. So you cannot really exceed your FDTL. You're always within the limit.
What is the major difference between an auto landing and manual landing, and what are your
So the main difference between an auto land and a manual landing is just like the name tells you. In an auto land, it's the aircraft which is flying itself. You just have to sit, monitor the flight path, monitor the systems, make sure that the aircraft is doing what you want it to do as a pilot. Make sure that the aircraft is in a safe trajectory and that you have total control over the situation. In a manual landing, obviously these criteria apply too, but there's a point where you disconnect the autopilot and you actually manually go ahead and fly and land the aircraft. So you can basically disconnect the autopilot when you have the runways and the PAPI. PAPIs are precision approach path indicator. These are lights which are located to the side of the runway, which help you come down in a safe and stabilized vertical profile. Or the second thing is that you can disconnect the autopilot when you're at minimums or something. So what do I like better? I actually unfortunately haven't done an auto land yet. I'm not cleared for it yet. Hopefully soon. We'll get there soon. But I know one thing for a fact that if you give me a choice, I definitely prefer flying an aircraft manually instead of using automation to land the aircraft, because anyways in airline flying you're usually on autopilot. The only times you actually have control of the aircraft is during takeoff and landing. So that one chance when you get to land the aircraft, why do you want to auto land when you can manually land? I'd go for manual landing for sure.
as most of our viewers would be aspiring pilots, what message you would like to give them? Any suggestions for early preparations?
So in my opinion, flying is the best means the best feeling ever known to mankind. At least it's the best feeling ever known to me. By best, I mean better than everything else, okay? It's so good. So just the thought of being behind the control of like a 70-ton jet filled with like 200 lives and at your responsibility, it's flying like 10-11 kilometers up in the sky almost at the speed of sound. It's insane. It's amazingly insane. It's so good. One thing that I can definitely promise you, that every second that you have waited for this, every ounce of hard work that you have put into becoming a pilot, and when you actually get it, I promise you it's worth every bit. It's really amazing. So your passion can definitely build your wings. For me, it was all about passion. I wanted to become a pilot since I was barely 2 or 3 years old. Like that's the age when you actually understand who a pilot is and what he's actually doing at work. That's the only thing I've ever wanted to do, and that's the only thing which I went ahead and pursued. Like I did immediately after my 12th, as I told you. Like for example, my mother and father both are from construction. My father's a civil engineer, my mother's an architect. And then I just turned out to become a pilot, and they're just like, so pilot kyun banna out of everything? There are no pilots in my house. I'm the only pilot in my family. So yeah, it's all about passion. I went ahead, followed my passion. And one more thing, back in the day, I was an average student, nothing extraordinary. Even my 12th standard marks were like very average, nothing special. But when I got into aviation, it's the passion for the field where you actually, start working hard. Basically, when you're passionate about something and when you want to get somewhere, during the whole journey, you're so focused and you do it with so much ease, with so much love, because you're so passionate about it. Please pursue your passion. I'm pretty sure every other pilot who loves his job is going to tell you, if you're passionate about it, do it. It's the best field ever. I promise you it's worth it. One early preparation which I would definitely suggest people who join aviation as a pilot, get your medicals done. Just get that on paper that you're fit to fly. There is no problem, there is nothing. All you have to do is complete the procedure then. It's definitely something which I recommend everyone to do it at the soonest. You don't require anything to do your medical. Anyone can just get up and do their pilot medical. It's not a big deal. Get your medical. Second thing, which I think is very important, which people do not understand, your lifestyle is very different. Your discipline in life is very different. The way you perceive your job has to be very different. So being a pilot is not just the job of flying an airplane, it's a whole lifestyle. Your life revolves around your job. Your life is going to be very different from all your other friends who are not in aviation. You have to be ready to be posted out of any city. You have to be ready to work at odd hours. You have to have the discipline to, maintain the right diet, maintain good habits, so you're medically fit to fly all the time. You have to be ready for all the studying that's gonna come in your way. So basically, imagine if you're like 40 something and everyone's like just chilling, hanging out at that point, and then you're like into the book, studying hardcore many hours a day because like you have a sim check coming up or something. So be ready for this. You cannot back out once you're in. So for holy preparations, these are definitely some key points which are very important in my opinion, and which I'd recommend everyone to consider.
Thank you, Captain, for sharing your experience. This will definitely help our viewers.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I was helpful. To all the future pilots out there, be focused, be passionate, and enjoy every minute of your flying school. Those are going to be the best days of your flying for years to come, I promise you that. And to all my other fellow aviators, happy landings. Take care. Wish you clear skies and sunny days.